Cutting down to the wire, episode 11 of Attack on Titan. The English dub is out, and this is one of those moments where Aaron kind of leads the episode, and he starts us off by flat out stating the theme of the episode, and that's human morale. The troops are very low in spirit, and that is just as important, if not more important, than figuring out a plan to defeat your enemy. So we jump right into when Pixis addresses the troops. First off, I want to start out by saying that the episode in general, the performances, all elevate any complaints that I'm about to list off here. In general, I think actually probably Pixis probably does the best job performance-wise in this episode. He does a really good job of belting. It's fine for Pixis to be belting because he's the one up on the gate and he's the one speaking down to everybody. Everybody's got to hear him. However, for the troops, not really a reason for them to be screaming the entire time. The show gets chastised a lot for a lot of the screaming that the characters do, which that's how it was in the manga. That's also just how Araki directs his shows. There's a lot of screaming. And also, it's giant mutant zombies that regenerate themselves trying to eat you, like you would scream too. But in this particular scene, when the soldiers are down themselves and they're debating abandoning their posts, in the original they were very downtrodden. There's the one guy that's freaking out and screaming, but everyone else is very low key because they are very afraid. They're afraid of their own people. They're afraid of what's going to happen. They're afraid of what happens to themselves and possibly to their loved ones if they abandon their posts. So they're keeping it very down, quiet.
こっちにも反逆者出ないかな。私だって死に方くらい選びたい。おい、お前ら。今のは冗談で。やれ。派手にやれ。できるだけ大勢で。
Yet in the English dub, pretty much everybody is screaming the entire time, like way louder than they should be.
I don't know. The trust isn't the way I want to go.
Come again?
I was only kidding around, sir.
Speak up.
What?
At the top of your lungs, make as much noise as you can, cadet.
The tension in the scene cannot rise if it's always at the same level the entire time. It has to have a low and has to have a high point. It needs to build itself. And the original Japanese subtitles did that very well with this particular scene. The English dub kind of drops the ball because it all stays the exact same level. It comes off feeling very unnatural, and unfortunately the dub execution in this particular scene is a pretty glaring omission of priorities for of the scene. Luckily, Pixis picks it back up. Pixis, not just the character, but the performance by the actor actually manages to help steer the scene back on track. The one line that I was disappointed that they changed was Pixis at one point flat out says, as a race, we have never won against the Titans. All we do is fall back and retreat. We never actually meet them head on. In the English dub, they incorporate Pixis's quirkiness, so to speak, into his monologue, which means that he speaks very irregularly, and that impact of that fact, the fact that humans have never actually won against Titans, the impact of that is softened a lot in the English dub. And I get that a big staple of Pixis' character is that he is very quirky. He is very weird and outspoken and very, you know, Captain Jack Sparrow, right? You know, very, very quirky and weird. But you'll notice that in the original, when he is delivering this speech, he's being very straight and to the point. He's not beating around the bush whatsoever. He flat out comes out and says, dude next to me can turn into a Titan. Like, he just flat out just boom. And he is very to the point because this is a situation where there is no, there's no time to be fancy or weird. He needs to speak the language of his troops to get the point across. And that's what helps to make him a great commander. That's where you can kind of see how he came to be in power. Whereas with the dub, he's still being very quirky and weird during his monologue. Not that it suddenly discredits the entire character, but it kind of makes him seem very ignorant of the situation, or at least a little ignorant of what's going on.
彼は我々が極秘に研究してきた巨人化生体実験の成功者である。彼は巨人の身体を生成し、意のままに操ることが可能である。
Don't let appearances deceive you. This young man is in fact the successful product of cutting-edge science. Fantastic as this may sound, Cadet Yeager possesses the ability to fabricate and control a Titan body at will.
巨人と化した彼は全門付近にある例の大岩を持ち上げ、破壊された扉まで運び、穴を塞ぐ。
Recall the massive boulder roughly a league from the gate. Having assumed Titan form, Cadet Yeager will hoist said boulder on his back, schlep it to the hole, and voila!
It's just a little thing that I kind of wish that they had kept, because it is a line that has weight to it. It's not like one of Levi's lines that's just like a cool man quip that doesn't really have any bearing on the story or the character. This is something that actually had some weight to it, and they changed it, and I mean, I guess I could see, you know, completely not thinking anything of it, because it is just a line, but it was noticed. Again, though, the sheer performance level is really, really solid. It helps to elevate the material a lot higher. This is one of those shining moments that goes to prove that this is a show that doesn't just fit to be English dubbed, but it actually has an advantage to it. It's a real... I might have talked about this before, but in case I haven't, can I just say that it is a real treat to get to just watch the action sequences and not have to worry about reading subtitles and missing anything.
Now it may seem an insignificant plot of land compared to the vast tracts of former glory long abandoned. But as a symbol, as an idea, Trust Regained shall stand as a reclamation of pride and hope beyond measure, a leap greater than we have ever taken.
Not too much to talk about with episode 10. Strangely enough, you know, in the past I've talked about performances maybe not being up to snuff, or maybe the translation being questionable, but this was an instance where it wasn't really either. There was nothing really wrong with the translation. The performances were all fine. I do give the point to the original Japanese with subtitles this time, because it still felt like when they were adapting it from the manga, they knew how to handle the scene a little bit more, and the scenes that follow, they knew how to handle the characters to their full potential. We've got one more episode of, not necessarily talkie-talkie, but we've got one more episode of Build, and then the season finale, and then it will be taking a break until September, I think it is. So, let me know what you guys think. Comment it up down below, and I shall see you next week. Bye.